Little bro, life's tough. Get a helmet.
And welcome to the Chris and Cory show on this fantastic snowy Sunday morning here in the Northeast. We are fresh off of Valentine's Day Massacre last night in Rochester, New York at Pineapple Jack's. And Cory, man oh man, was that place filled with love.
Yeah, there was a lot of love, a lot of romance, a lot of violence, and a lot of fun to be had at Pineapple Jack's.
At Pineapple Jack's last night, we saw Jeremy Jensen successfully retain his KDW World Heavyweight Championship. He did it in a triple threat match that was originally supposed to be a fatal four-way match, which was originally supposed to be a singles match. Backtracking a little bit, big injury to Jason Xavier, which he apparently has since recovered from, given the beatdown that he put on Jensen after he retained his KDW World Heavyweight Championship. It was made into a fatal four-way match, which involved Hellcat, Chris Caden, and Ryan Cassidy. Hellcat disappeared.
Yeah, all three individuals in that fatal four-way match outside of the champion had legitimate stake in a claim at a title shot. You know, we know Ryan Cassidy was owed a rematch when Chris Caden was still champion. Chris Caden is cashed in his rematch as he lost the title to Jeremy Jensen at the last show, and Hellcat never got to cash in his rematch when Caden beat him in the first place. So all four men had a stake in the match, but Jeremy Jensen's proven a lot of haters wrong in showing that he's the real deal when it comes to a champion, because it doesn't matter what type of match you throw at him, he's ready to fight and he's ready to defend the title, and he took it home again with him.
Yeah, after the show, we caught up with Hellcat. Somebody at this table, not naming names, it wasn't me, interrupted Hellcat's perfect dart game, and that was you. He had the Guinness World Book record of darts going in his favor. There were literally people there lined up from Guinness, snapping the photos of Hellcat. He was one shot away from setting the world record. And what did you do?
I asked him a question, but my job as a reporter is to go and give the fans what they want. I approached Hellcat and asked why he, bailed out and wasn't a part of the Fatal 4-Way match, and he made it pretty clear that he's no moron. This isn't just a walk in the park for him. There's a reason he's the veteran in this industry. He picks his shots when he wants to. He cashes in his rematch clause when he wants to. And he made it pretty clear that this Fatal 4-Way was not when he wanted to.
Earlier in the night, we saw Bobby DePinto go over Maximo Suave. There's very few people that I have witnessed spear the way DePinto spears. And as our listeners know, Maximo is a friend of the show. We do love us some Maximo Suave, but once you get hit with that DePinto spear, it's lights out.
Yeah, his ribs are going to be hurting for a week. DePinto spears like a truck. It's just so fast. It's so aggressive. It's a thing of beauty, but I would never want to be on the receiving end of that thing.
If you want to see the spear in action, head over to our Twitter account, at Boy Meets Sports. We have a video up of the spear. Watch it a few times. You're going to hurt after seeing it. It's a pretty spectacular move there by DePinto. IES got a big win. We saw Sneaky Cheech last night.
We saw Sneaky Cheech.
He had a beach.
He had a beach.
6-man scramble action last night. Maddock got the big victory in that match. However, overshadowing Maddock in his win a little bit was Anarchy, who decided to
jump off the boys' lounge.
Who decided to visit us in the boys' lounge mid-match. We thought he was going to join us on commentary. No. Once in the boys' lounge, the man steps over the rail and does a suicide plunge onto everyone else who was in the match below him.
Easily a 30-foot drop.
Easily.
Anarchy jumped off the boys' lounge balcony into the other 5 competitors. Man, I thought he was going to have broken legs, but nope. Anarchy walked it off, kept fighting, and then came back to compete in the Dusty Taker Invitational.
He almost won the scramble match.
It was phenomenal.
And then he came out and he was eliminating people in the Dusty Taker Invitational, and for 3 seconds we thought he was dead. That's after we thought he was going to come talk to us. Then we thought he was dead.
The fact that man walked it off makes me think he's a robot, not a human.
So Matic picked up the big win there in the scramble match. One of the best matches of the night, though, was the Tag Team Championship match. The Wet Bandits retained their KDW Tag Team Championships against Cloudy and Chris Worthless. Worthless is a monster.
Worthless is the opposite of Worthless, because the man has the size, he clearly has the strength, and he almost looks like he doesn't feel pain. It's almost intimidating when that guy gets in the ring, because the Wet Bandits excel at working as a team, and it took everything they had to keep that man out of contention. It took everything for them to retain those titles. Cloudy and Worthless are proving that they're a team you got to watch out for.
Well, Cloudy was there.
He's still part of the team.
He was in the match, but I mean, let's be honest. Worthless carried the team.
Yeah, Worthless is everything on that team, but the muscle, the size, the strength, the power, Worthless almost looks like he could take on the tag team division by himself. And
I think that most teams would be scared of him if that were to happen. Falco had some straight fire new Pac-Man tights last night.
Falco did have some new tights.
And it looked like he was going to take a vodka bottle to Icon Ace's head at one point in that match. The referee stopped that from happening, and then Falco hit the kick, and it was all over from there. He has a pretty kick.
Yeah, we were deprived of the Tito's bomb, but the super kick, that man knows how to super kick. Shawn Michaels, take notes.
And then, of course, we had the Dusty Taker Invitational, which was won by the aforementioned Chris Worthless, who showed us once again 2 times last night. He showed us how dominant of a monster he is, winning his first ever Dusty Taker Invitational match in dominating fashion.
Yeah, it's just intimidating that a man like that could go against 2 other men as talented as the Wet Bandits, almost win the tag titles and steal it away from the Wet Bandits, go through that match that we saw, which was, some are saying it already, KDW Match of the Year contender. It was a hell of a match. Worthless goes through all of that and then goes on to win the Dusty Taker Invitational. Like, I just don't know. KDW better watch out, because I don't know how you stop a man like Worthless.
And, not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but last year, Jeremy Jensen won it. He's the current KDW champion. Chris Caden won it. He was one of the longest reigning KDW champions. If winning the Dusty Taker Invitational is a path to a KDW championship opportunity, KDW is in trouble. Because if that belt gets on Worthless, I'm hard-pressed to find a man who can take it off of him, with the exception of maybe our special guest commentator last night, Jason Xavier, who in no uncertain terms made it clear that A, he hates Jeremy Jensen, and B, he's going to kill him in the ring at Spring Loaded and take his KDW championship, and then we're just going to go from there.
Well, we have a couple of dream matches coming up here, because Jeremy Jensen versus Jason Xavier is a dream match on any card. The KDW fans have wanted to see it. The rivalry's been boiling for a little while now, and now it looks like we're going to get
Jensen didn't back down last night.
Yeah,
they were face to face after Jensen won his match, and before Xavier, attacked him and beat him down, Jensen didn't back down. He stood toe to toe with him.
Yeah, and it's going to be, Spring Loaded is going to be quite the event. And regardless, now the Dusty Taker isn't a guaranteed a title shot, but if we see anything, we could see Xavier Worthless, which is going to be Hogan, Andre. But if we see something else, we could easily see Jensen versus Worthless or Jensen versus Xavier, regardless of what the outcome is. These matches are going to be huge. It's going to be like Daniel Bryan Batista. It's going to be a phenomenal dream match.
And Spring Loaded takes place in April. at Pineapple Jack's up in Rochester, New York. But before that happens, there will be a UPW event in March 11th to be exact, at the Eagles Club, and that is March Meltdown. And that will be taking place in 29 days. And although nothing has been confirmed yet for that show, we'll have Casey on, Commissioner Casey Doyle. We'll have him on at some point next week to kind of figure out how that show is going to be shaping up. But I do know that our boy's going to be there. It's going to be his house. Mark House will be there at March Meltdown.
Yeah, Mark House, fan favorite, international fan favorite, just an all-around good guy. Hopefully we have him on the show again soon before the show, but seeing Mark House back in action at UPW is going to be incredible. I've got it marked on my calendar.
And let's be honest, if you didn't make it up there for Valentine's Day Massacre, if you missed Wrestle Bowl, I really don't know what the heck your problem is. This is some amazing quality action up there at Pineapple Jack's in the Eagles Club. If you say that you like wrestling, I don't understand why you're not up there watching this, because these guys put on a hell of a show, and especially if you live around Rochester. I mean, if you live in Rochester and you're not coming out to these shows, I mean, let's be honest. We all know exactly.
You disrespectful, stupid idiot.
That's what it is. You're just a stupid idiot if you're not coming out to these shows.
Especially given last night being Valentine's Day Massacre. It was a show.
So many couples were there last night.
We saw, 7 proposals?
So much love was inside the dojo last night.
It was like the most romantic wrestling event I've ever been to.
And then there was violence, and it was a beautiful night. It was a beautiful marriage, and because of that show, people are legitimately getting married now.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. All right, Cory, let's take a quick break. When we get back here on the Chris and Cory Show, we are going to break down everything that could possibly be broken down for tonight's WWE pay-per-view Elimination Chamber. And that is on the other side of this break right here on the Chris and Cory Show, which of course is brought to you by BoyMeetsSports.com.
Hello, ladies.
And welcome back to the Chris and Cory Show. Cory, tonight is WWE Elimination Chamber. It is one of SmackDown's B-level pay-per-views. It is the second to last pay-per-view before WrestleMania. Raw will have their last pay-per-view in a couple of weeks at Fastlane. The main event tonight, of course, is the return of the Elimination Chamber. We haven't seen it since 2015, I believe. And apparently, it is an all-new Elimination Chamber.
Completely new structural setup, supposedly.
No, we have no idea what is all new about it, except for the fact that every time they say the word Elimination Chamber, the words all new are in front of it.
Yeah, so we'll see what's structurally different about it, if much of anything. But they're making it sound like this is the first ever Elimination Chamber, and it's going to change the game and change our opinion on the Chamber altogether, so it should be a fun show.
The pre-show tonight is Hawkins and Mojo Rawley in a match that you seem to care a lot about, but I don't really think anyone else has too much invested interest in it. So we'll let you hype up this match.
Well, I only care about it because this is the perfect opportunity to partner Mojo Rawley with Kurt Hawkins. And a lot of people don't want to see that because the Hype Bros are a pretty fun team to watch, but if you can make the Hype Bros a trio, once Ryder's back, it gives Ryder the opportunity to get a singles push, which he's ready for, and you can have the two other guys, keep working on their talents, help Mojo build, which is what essentially putting him in the tag team is doing for him, and it helps that hurting SmackDown tag division.
The SmackDown tag division is pretty weak right now in that, let's be honest, turning the Usos heel, while maybe it was needed at the time, has been a failure.
Well, it was a short-term success. And for
they
the time
got heat when it first happened.
And they were successful early, which is what they needed. But American Alpha is by far the best tag team on that show, without question. The Usos are still a good tag team and in-ring abilities and stuff, but we've seen them successful for so long that people don't want it right now. It's American Alpha's division. But the only issue right now on SmackDown is that there's no one who is on the level of American Alpha, and we had the Wyatts, but that already looks to be a short-term run in the tag team division, and so it's just American Alpha on one platform, and then the rest of the tag team division seems to be 3 or 4 rungs below them on that ladder. So getting Hawkins and Raleigh, now they're not going to be American Alpha by any means, but it allows for you to have a little bit more of tag team storyline. So I very much anticipate this match going on tonight. Mojo will go over. He'll offer the handshake to Kurt Hawkins, and I think we'll see the Hype Bros add Kurt Hawkins at least temporarily until Zack Ryder returns.
If it goes down that way, I'm happy to see Hawkins get rid of the absolute hot garbage gimmick that he has right now, because it is literally straight hot trash.
In addition to looking stupid, is hot garbage.
Still trash.
He's trash.
He's still trash.
Basura. Basura, 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 basura. He's trash. Garbage. No good. No good.
We thought it was going to be bad when we got the vignettes, but at the same time, it was like, it could be funny.
Well, the one thing that Kurt Hawkins at least used to be able to do, we haven't seen it since, was he could kind of make humor out of a bad situation. So we kind of thought that, like, you knew Kurt Hawkins was going to come back for people to go over, but you still kind of thought that, like, he would get a couple digs at people and he'd be on TV, and he used to be known to be the bad guy you kind of liked to hate. He used to be very 2005-ish Miz, you know,
yes,
in his personality.
I agree.
And he could pull that off, but since he's come back, he's very much, I don't care. They don't even put him on TV anymore because they can't figure out what to do with him. And so I think let Mojo be the mouthpiece, let Kurt Hawkins kind of be the guy that gets beat up, you know, and then when Ryder comes back, he'll be the leader of that faction without question. And then you could have Ryder kind of do a little singles push if you want to put him in the IC picture. Ambrose Ryder could be fun.
Elimination Chamber will be the first pay-per-view event in WWE history where there are 3 singles women's matches on the main card. Those 3 matches are Nikki Bella and Natty, Becky Lynch and Mickie James, and Naomi and Alexa Bliss. Before we break down those 3 matches and other female news in the world of wrestling, it looks like Eva Marie is starting to remove herself from the WWE brand. She recently rebranded her Twitter account, removing all mention of the fact that she is currently under contract. They have not released her. Her contract is still valid, so she is still technically an employee of WWE. But her Twitter account does not reflect that anymore, and she unfollowed all of the official branded WWE accounts on Twitter as well. Is this Eva Marie simply trying to build up her other brands, knowing that her time with WWE is probably coming to an end? Is this Eva Marie being defiant? What is she trying to do here?
Well, given the WWE, this could be a ton of ways. It could be.
Is it a stunt by WWE?
Yeah, it could almost be a character development, saying that she comes back, and it could be part of her character that, okay, while I disappeared, all you did was badmouth me and have her come back as monster heel, just eating through the division, like, oh, I'm not talented, blah, blah, blah. But more likely than not, I think she sees the writing on the wall, because Eva Marie went to SmackDown because she has that name value. She came in, as much as wrestling fans have disliked Eva Marie, because she is, by a lot of means, too green to be in the title picture, but not necessarily too green to be in the ring. Look at Carmella. She's obviously, Carmella's improving at a far faster rate.
Oh, by far.
Carmella's green too.
Yeah.
But they haven't put her in a title picture. The difference is that Eva Marie brings that name brand value to the show of SmackDown that they thought they needed so desperately, because she brought the Total Divas fans who don't watch wrestling to SmackDown. She did that. Her name alone, regardless of how talented she is a wrestler, she brought a lot of fans to SmackDown, regardless of what people say. But more likely than not, it's her saying, I'm out of here. Like, you don't use me. I don't really like wrestling. I've ruptured a fake boob. And I just want to go back to modeling and working out. Like, that's really what I want to be doing. So I think she just sees the writing on the wall that when the April firings come into play, they don't need her. SmackDown thought they needed the name brand, but now they don't. The women have stepped it up huge time on SmackDown and made themselves more relevant than the women on Raw.
One of the female wrestlers who is returning to the SmackDown roster next month is Tamina. Tamina has been cleared to return to the ring. She had an injury and then she was dealing with some personal issues, but she is all set to come back. Are we going to see Tamina take on a similar role as Nia Jax on Raw? What is Tamina going to get a run with the title? Is she going to be the bodyguard enforcer? Where do you see Tamina kind of fitting into the SmackDown scene?
I think it could go a lot of ways. Me personally, now they changed it, but when Mickie James was returning and they hinted at Tamina, I almost wanted her to return to the bodyguard role of Mickie James. Because Mickie James, I think, could have made her very relevant and got her a lot of match time. Because the one thing with Tamina Snuka is she's been in the WWE for a long time and barely wrestles.
Barely does anything.
Like, the only time I can remember her actually wrestling is when they first brought up the Four Horsewomen and they needed another third for Team Bad. And even then, she doesn't wrestle much. She would hit a big boot and then tag in.
And a lot of time in those tag matches, she was the one not actually in the ring. She was ringside.
And so, you know, for being in the industry for so long, she doesn't have a ton of ring experience. So I like her in the role of bodyguard. But then, it's interesting because my gut tells me, more likely than not, we're either going to see her against Carmella, so they can find something else for Carmella to do, or she's just going to go around bruising people. But the fun thing that I would like to see is Swerve, because Emelina is confirmed to be on Raw Monday, have her not show up, and have her show up on SmackDown with Tamina as her bodyguard to replace Dana Brooks, and I think Emma could really make her relevant. Speaking
of Dana Brooks, where the hell has she been lately?
She's preparing for the Arnold Invitational, the bodybuilding tournament.
Oh, that's right. I did know that. She's jacked, by the way.
She's so strong.
She is straight up jacked. But yeah, and that was the third tidbit for the women is that Emelina is supposed to be debuting on Raw. If she does come to Raw and she doesn't go to SmackDown, there's not much for her on Raw on Monday, just given the fact that Charlotte has Bayley, Sasha and Nia have their thing going on. There isn't really much else for her to do on Raw except for her to insert herself into a pre-established feud, which will lead to a feud of her own once those feuds wrap up.
The one thing that you have here with Emelina that can kind of re-spark the whole Raw women's division, because the one thing in SmackDown is all the storylines make sense. And to an extent they do on Raw, but they seem stale because it's the same storylines that were so popular in NXT. You know, and they've come up, and like Nia Jax is still doing the same thing she's always done. And you know we're going to get Bayley Charlotte again, but we've gotten Bayley Sasha so many times, but that's going to be the next thing. The one thing that inserting Emelina does is you can have her uber heel or anti-face to an extent where she can come up and say, I was there for the women's revolution down in NXT. I was helping build this up. And you can have her very organically earn her way to the title picture over the next few months, have her come up and go over a lesser woman in the division, have her break that down, and then have her feud with Nia Jax and make Emma the one who beats Nia Jax, and then have her get angry so she goes with Bayley, and she gets a win over Bayley, and they go back and forth, and then she's like, I told you, I'm part of this revolution, and then put her in the title picture.
Of the three women's matches at Elimination Chamber, I have a feeling that from just an in-ring stance, Naomi Alexa Bliss might be the worst match, just because I'm not convinced of Naomi in the top spot. I think that the Naomi Bliss match and the Bella and Natty match are going to be close, and it's just a matter of which two pairs of women do more to make us more convinced of what's going on in the ring. Bella and Natty should be able to do it, given how long and drawn out this feud has been, and the fact that throughout this entire feud they haven't really wrestled. So the fact that now they're getting the opportunity to kind of showcase it and really get in the ring, I'm kind of expecting a lot from them. I don't know if they're going to deliver, but I'm expecting them to kind of hit a home run here. As far as Bliss and Naomi go, I don't know what we're going to get with that. I would assume that Alexa's going to retain. I think we're going to see a couple of big spots where it looks like Naomi might win the match. But then again, is this the right time to put the belt on Naomi and have Alexa win it back at WrestleMania?
Well, I think this is the perfect time to find out if Naomi is ready to become a champion, because in terms of athleticism, she's probably the most athletic woman on the roster.
I'd agree with that.
And her moveset is there. She's proven that she is a good in-ring wrestler. She's phenomenal, and I'm one of the biggest proprietors of saying she deserves to become a champion on SmackDown. But the question is she ready to be a chameleon, which is really required of a champion? And her style, obviously, is not matchup. Like, Alexa Bliss looks to have the advantage because she's sneaky. She can roll out of the ring. Yes, Naomi has the size, she has the strength, but Alexa uses everything to her advantage. But Naomi, throughout history that we've seen, for her to go over, the person she's going against kind of needs to run into her moveset. You know what I mean? The Naomi's moveset doesn't necessarily get you by surprise. It doesn't surprise you. She throws you off the ropes, and then you hit the butt jump, whatever that's called.
Yeah, she takes advantage of more aggressive people as opponents. And Alexa hasn't been an aggressive person because she's a heel. So Alexa's more of the layback and, find the underhanded way to get the advantage, which is why I'm just concerned about the story they're going to tell in the ring. How are their two styles, which seem like opposites, how are they going to kind of jive together?
But if she can pull this off, then I'll be a big proprietor to say she's ready. I think Alexa should still retain, but Naomi should be a women's champion by the end of the year. But Alexa is that superstar that just shows that you have to be more than your moveset, which to me is why the Nikki-Natalya feud has been so boring, because they both have the same style. And the storytelling, from a storytelling point, has been believable, but from an in-ring thing, it's been boring the few times we've seen it, just because neither one of them is the quickest in the ring. They're both fairly strong, but they have essentially very similar movesets. They have a very similar move types, and it just, you know what you're going to get, and then one hits it, and then the other one hits it, because that's their moveset. Or Alexa's fun, because she might pull your legs out. She might go off the top rope. You really don't know what she's going to get. And so I'm hoping that Naomi and Alexa is the better match, because that's the future of the division. We know Natalya's going to be leaving within the next few years. We know Nikki's going to be done wrestling soon. So hopefully they can show that, hey, the SmackDown division's ready for the next wave.
I'm going to call it now. The ending of this Nikki, Bella, Natty match is going to be a sharpshooter reversed into the STFU.
Without a question, STFU is going to win this match, I think.
And Natty's going to tap in the middle of the ring to John Cena's finishing move.
And it's almost frustrating with the focus they have on the women's revolution, that both of these females, now, Natalya's always been a good in-ring presence, but she's kind of pushed herself as someone you can get behind, because she's usually been so boring in promos. Mm-hmm. And she's still kind of boring compared to Nikki, but she's improved greatly. And Nikki went from easily, on her debut, the worst woman in the division. Without question, was horrible, was boring. There's a reason she got fired the first time, but she's reinvented herself. And she's become a phenomenal wrestler. So it's almost like a weird degrading, you're in it for Bret Hart and she's in it for John Cena. It's like, no, you're both good wrestlers. Why can't that be the storyline? But I digress and whatever. So I agree that the STFU is going to be the finisher of this match.
Becky Lynch and Mickie James should steal the show as far as the women wrestlers go. This match should absolutely be phenomenal.
It's going to be awesome.
I think it will be the last women's match to go on. I think it will have the best spots of the three women's matches, and I don't think the other two are going to come close to it.
Yeah, I'm excited for this match. This might be...
It could be one of the best matches of the card.
This could be the match of the night.
It really could be.
Yeah.
Take out the Chamber just because of everything the Chamber is. But of all the other normal-esque wrestling matches, this should be the best match of the night.
Yeah, and it'll be cool because even if Mickie goes over clean, Becky's going to look strong, just because Becky has that ability to look strong in a loss. So this feud is just opening up, and I really hope we get a cool WrestleMania match out of it.
All right, let's take a quick break here. When we get back, we will break down the second half of the Elimination Chamber card tonight. You're listening to the Chris and Cory Show, which, of course, is brought to you by BoyMeetsSports.com. And welcome back to the Chris and Cory Show. And Cory, we are continuing to break down WWE Elimination Chamber tonight. It is on the WWE Network. It is on at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. We have already broken down the pre-show with Raleigh and Hawkins and all three of the women's singles matches, which are happening for the first time ever in WWE history on one pay-per-view card. Nikki Bella and Natty, Becky Lynch and Mickie James, and Naomi and Alexa Bliss, with us both believing that, Becky Lynch and Mickie James are going to probably carry the show tonight. In the second half of the show, we are going to see a 2-on-1 handicap match, Kalisto and Apollo Crews versus Dolph Ziggler, in a match that I might care about less than Raleigh and Hawkins.
Well, it's weird because they have these three guys that they kind of all need to keep relevant, but they don't have anything for them to do. And Dolph Ziggler now has his heel turn, and he has to look good. And he has in the feud as a bad guy. But
How often have you seen a heel
cheered.
and put into a 2-on-1 handicap match?
Well, that's just the thing. It's almost like they're making Dolph Ziggler Superman. And it's awesome. Like, and his matches have been cool, but then it's like, oh, wait, Apollo Crews is awesome too, and we need to keep him relevant. Let's throw Kalisto in. But they're like, but wait, he needs to be relevant too. So I think what we're going to see here is quite a showing by Dolph Ziggler as the show-off, and I think he's going to pick up the loss. Because there's a lot of rumors saying he faces JBL at WrestleMania. And that'd be cool because that's a good spot for Ziggler to go over. They can have Cruz pick up the pin after double teaming in with Kalisto to keep all three men looking strong, which can then have a JBL or King continue their background feud with Ziggler saying, see, you're still a loser. And then really build into something at WrestleMania and then find something for Apollo Crews to do, please.
And not have him team with faces in handicap matches against heels.
Yeah, it's really weird that but not only that, like, props to Dolph Ziggler as a heel where he's like, yeah, bring two. He's Braun Strowmaning right now.
he's Braun Strowmaning with Kalisto.
But regardless, he's like my size. Now, obviously that's not true, but he's like, what, 220?
Yeah.
And Apollo Crews has, what, 20 pounds on him?
At least.
And he's like, oh yeah, bring your friends. Like, it's Dolph Ziggler. Like, they've really done, he's done good on this heel turn. That, yeah, I'm the bad guy, but bring your friends, homie. I'll fight you. And Apollo Crews is like, fair.
Yeah, he's done good on the heel turn. I think he's still losing like 65% of his matches as a heel.
That's because he brings everybody. He's willing to fight anybody.
Tag team turmoil tonight. Obviously, American Alpha is going to retain. I think the goal of this match... two things need to happen in this match. One, we need to not be bored. It needs to be quick-hitting, high-octane tag team action. Two, do your best to make every team in the match look good at one point or another. And that includes the Vaudevillains, who they've basically buried over the past month and a half, because it seems like every time all these teams get into the ring, the Vaudevillains are always on the crap end of the stick.
Well, that's all Simon Gotch's fault. You don't pick fights with veterans around the industry backstage. He's just gone to show, don't be an idiot. Show respect to people in the backstage, because they were the ones that, when American Alpha went to that tag team division, everyone expected the top teams to be American Alpha and the Vaudevillains, because the Vaudevillains were super over in NXT. They work well together as a team. They have a strange gimmick, but they pull it off, and they can be bad guys. But then Simon Gotch, just such an idiot backstage, and just can't keep himself out of fights. And it's just, this match, to me, has to put American Alpha over to keep them as the top guys in the division. But what they have to do is figure out if there's a team other than Slater and Rhino who have
fallen down the mountain.
But not only that, they're still showing that they're a super team. Now, they're not a super team in terms of Randy and Bray. That was a super team. But in that division, it's showing two guys that could and do deserve singles pushes are put together to help elevate the division. They're not a tag team. Now, they've done well as a tag team, but Slater could easily be in the Intercontinental picture. He's got the moveset for it, especially given the SmackDown roster. But he's there because they need him there. And so these teams should just be fighting to show, hey, I, at least for a couple months, deserve a time in the A slot, just because hopefully we see the Hardys after WrestleMania. All you got to do is get American Alpha to WrestleMania.
I think all you have to do is get the Hardys to the company in April.
We haven't seen them re-sign, and they have, what, 18 days?
Because if we get the Hardys to okay, if say the Hardys are not at WrestleMania, what's American Alpha doing at WrestleMania?
Well, they'll wrestle.
Is it the Hype Bros?
Well, it should be whoever looks
the
good.
new version of the Hype Bros.
Well,
or is it one of these teams again?
And here's the interesting thought, because
or do you throw a ladder in there and go 8-man tag team ladder match for the tag team titles just to get some big spots out of this match?
Now, I think that's what we'll end up getting, but really what they should be doing, especially if this Hardy thing is going to come into fruition, and I think we'll know for sure, because if American Alpha has a one-team match at WrestleMania, my money's on the Hardys being there. But odds are we could very easily get, because part of me thinks that the Hawkins-Raleigh match is pre-show because they're going to make their debut as a tag team during the Turmoil match. I don't know if we'll get that.
That makes sense, though.
But all you need to do is pick one team, even if it's the Ascension. Have the Ascension look good in this match, and then
they've looked good recently. They've looked dominant and powerful. They haven't won as much, but they still have looked powerful.
Exactly.
Times.
So then don't let them win, but have them be close. And then put them in the WrestleMania match. Just because they're not going to be there for a long time, but give them something that the American Alpha can feud with for a couple weeks. Because if we see like an 8-man ladder match, then I think we see Kurt Angle come down at WrestleMania and shake their hands. And then we see the Kurt Angle debut.
Randy Orton, Luke Harper. It looked, in my mind, it's hard for Orton to lose just because of the fact that he won the Royal Rumble. He's going to need that momentum heading into WrestleMania. But how huge would it be if they put Luke Harper over here?
It would be huge. And I think regardless, I think the two options for match of the night are this and the Mickie James match. And so the one thing they can do here is we've seen that Eric Rowan has now been rehabbing.
Yes.
So this is a chance to maybe re-debut Eric Rowan.
Potentially.
With Luke Harper. Maybe not. But it's a chance you have to make Harper look good, and I think they will. But Randy has to go over here, especially if he's going to be feuding with Bray at WrestleMania, because this is the perfect chance for Randy to skate by. Randy can get beat down, and all he needs to do is hit an RKO.
Or Bray could interfere.
Yeah.
And Bray could basically win the match for him,
and
which would keep Harper looking strong while giving Orton the win.
Yeah, so keep Harper looking good, because then it gives Randy the shot at WrestleMania to say, if you want to beat someone, break him down from the inside, and then just tell Bray that I did this. My whole plan from the beginning was to break up the Wyatts. No one can stop me now. You could almost have Randy go over Bray at WrestleMania. Or it's so crazy because Randy Orton is easily the Brock Lesnar of SmackDown right now.
By far.
Like, it's crazy that Randy Orton has reinvented himself, that he comes out, and they have John Cena, and when someone's like, well, there's AJ Styles, but anytime Randy Orton gets into the match with someone, Randy Orton's the favorite right now in SmackDown. He's done so well since his return to
If
SmackDown.
Randy Orton wins the title at WrestleMania, he'll become a 13-time world champion. That's 1 behind Triple H. That's 3 behind John Cena and Ric Flair.
Yeah. And
he's right there.
And it's crazy because AJ Styles is definitely the best wrestler on the roster.
And that's not even debatable.
And then John Cena is like the champ and like just the personality, he should win. But even giving into those feuds right now, if they had a feud, I think with the way Randy Orton is, if you put him against John Cena, in my head, he's the favorite to win. If you put him against AJ Styles, with the way he's reinvented his character and his mindset, he should be the favorite over AJ Styles in SmackDown. So Randy Orton is the man to beat right now. So WrestleMania should be awesome, especially with how motivated he is.
We do love motivated Randy. Lazy Randy Orton is not good for business. It's not good for anybody.
But it's crazy how motivated he is right now. It's like this is the best he's been in his whole career.
And the funny thing about Randy Orton is you know when he gets lazy because the jaw gets a little less defined. The midsection gets a little less defined.
And the stomps get more aggressive.
Exactly.
Because he doesn't want to do that.
Because he slows down the entire match and just becomes more methodical.
But how fast is he hitting that power slam right now?
Oh, he's on top of his game right now.
Like, it looks like he's killing people.
Which is why it's trending towards the fact that if Orton's this into it, are they going to give him the belt at WrestleMania? Is he gearing up for his 13th world title run?
Especially because all the rumors are showing AJ Styles going back to Raw some point after WrestleMania. So Randy Orton is now the champ who runs the camp if no AJ Styles is on SmackDown. He's the guy to beat on SmackDown, and right now I'm okay with it.
In the Chamber match tonight, John Cena is going to come in as champion. AJ Styles is in there. Dean Ambrose is in there. The Miz is in there. Who else is in there? Baron Corbin is in there. And I'm missing one.
Bray Wyatt.
Bray Wyatt is obviously the favorite of the match to set up the Orton-Bray Wyatt match. I think that John Cena is probably the second favorite because I think in some fans' minds, seeing Orton-Cena main event WrestleMania is something, even though we just saw it on SmackDown. Aside from those two, and I would put Cena a distant second to Bray Wyatt at this point unless they're going to swerve us for some reason. Miz isn't going to win it. Ambrose isn't going to win it. AJ Styles, I would love to see him get the belt back, but it looks like he's going to fight Shane at WrestleMania. And then the only other option would be Baron Corbin, who I think isn't ready for it yet.
Yeah, I think he's ready to be a champion this year, but I really think Baron Corbin, they should kind of do it organically because his rise to stardom has gone smoother than Roman Reigns. But the issue is that they could potentially Roman Reigns him.
Which nobody wants.
But Roman Reigns, think about it, would probably be the most popular guy on Raw right now if they started with the U.S. belt. He then went and got IC. And then now he's on the repeat run that he's on. But no, he started right at.
Reigns is funny because if Seth Rollins doesn't cash in and Reigns goes over Brock Lesnar, huge face. He was the face going into that match. Fans wanted to see him take out Lesnar. And they gave the spot to Rollins and Reigns has not been able to recover since.
Well, that's because they kept giving him the undefeatable stance, and then he loses clean and stuff. So it's very bizarre. But so I would like to see Corbin, go close to this. Now have him feud with Ambrose for a little bit after the Chamber for the IC belt. That'd be fun. Miz is in the match. As much as we love him, as much as he deserves respect, he's there to be the punching bag. Miz is going to take everybody's finisher.
Is Miz first out tonight?
I don't think so.
Who's first out tonight?
My guess is if Bray Wyatt's going to win, I think John Cena's the first one eliminated from this match.
Knock Cena out first?
I think it's going to be a bull
and then
thing.
Ambrose?
Would be my call. And just because I think to start the match, I think John Cena is going to be number 1.
Okay.
I think AJ Styles is going to be number 2. And I think they're going to give us the big matchup early. Styles is going to, then take the bumps from Cena. Miz might be number 3. Cena's going to hit an FU on the Miz. Styles is going to low blow him. And I could see the Miz and AJ double pinning Cena. My gut tells me Cena, unless he's going to retain, is the first eliminated.
Okay.
Because then it's a chance to give all these guys a chance to shine. Because Baron Corbin's going to hit 3 or 4 end of days. It's going to be awesome. Bray Wyatt's going to be methodical. He might just wait in his chamber the whole time. He might just slide that door shut again.
Assuming there's even doors.
True.
We have no idea what this new chamber is going to look like.
Yeah, because we really don't know. But AJ Styles is going to put on a show. But I could just...
I want to see AJ springboard into an end of days.
That would be awesome. And there's a shot of it.
I legitimately want to see that happen. And I think the two of them could pull it off.
Yeah, because I think that Cena's going to get eliminated. We might see Cena then, out of rage before leaving the chamber, FU Styles into the cage at the side. That'd be cool, because then it's a reason for AJ to be mad and start calling out Shane. But I think if Cena's not going to retain, they get him out pretty early to make this match legit. Especially from someone like Baron Corbin, who they want to look awesome. They had him eliminate Strowman clean in the Royal Rumble, remember?
And he got the win in the Fatal 4-Way on SmackDown coming into this match.
So there's a chance
they've built Corbin with momentum heading into the Chamber match. So he's got to do something big.
Because there's a chance he eliminates Cena early with an end of days, and then Ambrose is like, I want a title shot, Ambrose. And then Corbin just doesn't like what Ambrose is putting down, put him in the IC picture. So
we could also see the start of the Miz-Cena feud tonight, too.
Exactly.
Because at some point, they're going to have to start that, and it could be with the Miz taking out John Cena, or whatever the case may be with that. So that's another angle to look forward to.
Because there's a part of me that thinks the new part of the Elimination Chamber is going to be weapons. And I could see Styles hitting Cena with a chair, and then Miz capitalizing, getting the pin, and then coming out, I eliminated your champion. Cena comes out. Maurice has some trash to talk. Nikki...
Participation award for John Cena.
Exactly. So there's a way to open this up organically, and to do it right, Cena's got to be out early. But it's Cena. I don't know if they'll do that. That's how they should do it.
Does it tarnish the 16th title reign if he loses the belt here?
No.
So win it at Royal Rumble and then lose it in his first defense?
No, it doesn't.
And then not be involved in the title picture at WrestleMania?
As long as they build the next one right, then it doesn't tarnish anything. Especially if we see Randy go over Bray at WrestleMania. Because then you can have the feud, as much as some people are like, Randy and John, we see it all the time. But this is Rock Austin. This is like...
and I've said it for the past 2 weeks. This is the closest thing that we will ever see to Rock. There's 26 world championships between these two guys, and I'm pretty sure that's a lot more than Rock and Austin have combined.
And then my only point is that, I get it because people got annoyed, especially in 2014, because they wrestled so many times.
We did see it a lot in a year and a half time span, but we haven't seen it at all since then.
But the thing that we have to remember is that go back on the WWE Network.
Yeah, watch how many times Austin and Rock were going at it.
But then also, with Randy Cena, every one of those pay-per-view matches is a classic. At the time, we just complained because it was back-to-back-to-back pay-per-views. Right. But you watch those and you're like, wow, that was a hell of a match. Wow, that's awesome.
And the storylines, if you back up with Orton and Cena, there was a storyline where they were unifying the belts. Yeah. I mean, they weren't just generic championship match storylines. There were bigger stuff around
Their feuds were designed to elevate the company, not the two of them. So it's huge. And so we could see, and even if Bray goes over, because we can have him and Randy stay unified, and then you now have John going for his 16th time at SummerSlam.
17.
Yeah, that's what I mean. 17 at SummerSlam against Bray with Randy on the side. That's huge. So this could go a lot of ways, and if they do it right, it won't tarnish Cena. The question is, will they do it right?
That's always the question with WWE is, will they do it right? And, SummerSlam is obviously going to be the next big show, and that's the question. If Bray walks out tonight with the belt, and then let's say that he drops it to Orton at WrestleMania, do we see a triple threat, Orton, Cena, Bray at SummerSlam? Because if Bray touches the goal tonight, he's there. He's finally in the top picture. I don't see them putting him back down. I see him kind of always being somewhere outside near the top tier on SmackDown.
And he earns it. I mean, that
he's
man
absolutely
is a
earned
monster.
it, without question. So I think that if he can get the gold tonight, that will finally, because we've been waiting for a year and a half for him to really have a legitimate shot at the belt and actually get it. And he's been doing the same top tier quality. His quality of work has not digressed since the Wyatt family has started. He's had some crappy feuds that were like, oh my god.
But he still made him relevant.
And his promo work's been on top in all of them. His in-ring work's been on top. The only disappointment with Bray Wyatt is where is Sister Abigail? But maybe we get Sister Abigail when he wins the belt.
Not only that, because they could do this right, because Randy could say, like, this is exactly what I wanted. I wanted you, Bray, so I can beat you down. I break you down from the inside. Bray cuts a promo like, ha ha ha. I don't fight for that family. I fight for family. And then Sister Abigail debuts. Bray with the manager is almost as stoppable as Brock Lesnar with Paul Heyman.
Ooh, that was a new one.
Believe in yourselves. Dream. Try. Do good.
Don't you mean do well?
No, I mean do good.
My final thought for tonight is going to center around Nikki Bella and Natty. They have gotten way too much TV time, in my personal opinion, throughout this feud. I think that there's been far too much promos and backstage attacks and just not in-ring stuff happening during this feud, all leading up to this match. If the two of them cannot deliver their best performances tonight, I think this entire feud is a failure, and I do think it does in some ways hurt the SmackDown Women's division, because although they're not the future of the division, they're going to be around. I mean, Natty's going to be around for a couple more years. Nikki's going to take some time off after WrestleMania, but she'll probably still be around for the remainder of this year at least. They need to be performing at a top level in this division, and for SmackDown to give them all this time and all this TV time and everything, if they can't, the veterans that they are, if they can't figure out a way to make it pay off, I think that's embarrassing for both of them.
Yeah, because I think this should be the finale of the feud, especially because they should not wrestle at WrestleMania, because we don't want it. But my final thought is just, this pay-per-view should clear up everything about SmackDown going into WrestleMania. After tonight, we should have zero questions as to what's the plan for WrestleMania, with the exception of we might not see Shane and AJ pay off till MSG.
Right. And I'm still curious exactly how that's even going to come to be, because they've had very little rub throughout his entire time as champion. I mean, yeah, they've had some funny back and forths, but
never a
rub to where they want to fight each other.
Yeah, so
I don't know how they're gonna spin that around for us, but that will be an interesting spin. As always, thank you for listening to the Chris and Cory Show. Make sure you check us out here again next Sunday, 10:30 a.m. I can speak. 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Special thanks to our crack squad over here, Seymour De Niro on the Vegas odds. He has Randy Orton all the way winning at WrestleMania, and he has Bray Wyatt winning in the Elimination Chamber tonight. And of course, Dr. James Topango, who was on scene with us last night at KDW Valentine's Day Massacre, although I think he spent more time in the bar than he did in the boys' lounge. So we'll deal with that behind closed doors after the show. The doctor got a little tipsy last night, if you will.
He was hitting the sauce, but for science.
Yeah. every time we saw him and he was stumbling around, he's like, "Don't worry, it's an experiment."
Poor guy.
Although he did take home 3 ladies last night from Rochester.
He did.
So maybe it was an experiment gone right. That's all I'm saying. As always, thank you for listening. Make sure you check us out on all of our social media. We are on Instagram, we are on Twitter, we are on Facebook, and of course, do not forget to visit BoyMeSports.com. Remember, life is tough, so be damn sure that you are wearing a helmet, and we will see you next Sunday here on The Chris and Cory Show.
Whoop-a-doo.